So who am I? I am
It's funny.
Principled.
Thoughtful. Loyal. Has a big heart. Unpredictable.
Persistent.
No nonsense.
Spontaneous.
Motivated.
Quick-witted. Boss lady.
Down for whatever.
Charismatic.
He's a sweetheart.
Stubborn.
Sour Patch.
Annoying.
Introverted and empowered. Driven.
Opinionated.
Mysterious.
I am Genee Glasgow. Why not make a documentary, right? Why not allow people to hear my story? Not only will you hear my story, but you'll hear my story from other people's perspectives as well. I hope that whoever watches this, you get to see another side of me that maybe you didn't know about. You'll hear some of my trials, my tribulations, my goods, my bads, struggles, and the wins. So I hope you enjoy it, and here goes nothing.
It was about 5:45 in the morning. Blue, my brother, was getting ready to go to work, and Renee said, "Blue, I think I'm going into labor." He said, "Oh, girl, you just got gas. Don't even worry about it." So he leaves to go to work. 15 minutes later, she comes to tell me, she said, "Paul, I think I'm going into labor." So I said, "All right, come on, let's go." So we get in the car, and she has her first contraction, we're in Brandywine. She has her second contraction, we're in Clinton. And I said, oh man, we got from Clinton to downtown in less than 20 minutes. So I got her there. Now, let me tell you a little backstory about that. I was supposed to go on an interview that morning for $1 million job. But that didn't happen because my niece was more important than all that. So we got her to the hospital. As soon as she got to the hospital, she had the baby in less than an hour. Blue just barely got there from work. And that's how I met Genee.
Genee was a surprise. She was 30 days early. She was supposed to be born in January and not December. She came 5 days before Christmas. So she was not expected, but she's here now, and she's been here for almost 30 years.
She was very rambunctious. She loved to dance, was into everything. Genee was a very studious child. And she gets a little, one-sided, which means her own way. But other than that, she's a very good person.
Independent. She wanted to do things her way. Since birth, she wasn't supposed to come. She came. She walked when she wanted to walk, and she talked when she wanted to talk. And she even crawled before she was supposed to crawl. Everything was before she was supposed to. She had her own mind, and she did whatever she wanted to do when she wanted to do it.
I was in the shower and I came out the bathroom and she had pulled a chair up to the refrigerator because she wanted strawberry milk. And I think she had to be maybe a two-ish. And she had pulled the chair up to get the strawberry milk out the refrigerator. Okay?
I remember getting in trouble a lot. I could say I constantly got whippings. I was the rebel child. Didn't necessarily agree with what my parents were said. There would be repercussions for that. And so I think that transpired into my later years as well. But definitely, I would say in my early ages, I do recall, getting in trouble a lot.
Genee has always been strong-willed and determined. Like, she's always been very clear about what she wanted, even from a little child up to an adult. Very focused, always knowing what she wants and when she wants it and how she wants it. Which sometimes, kids think they know everything more than adults. So sometimes that could be an issue.
You could see the potential in Genee. She would fit right into the family because she always had an answer for everything. So we knew then that she was actually one of our descendants.
as a child, Genee, what people would call overweight, but he was a preemie, and it's probably my fault because when she was born 30 days early, so she was considered a preemie. I would make sure that she was fed, and I wanted to make sure she gained weight because she was a tiny thing when she was first born.
I was a fat girl. Shout out to all my big girls out there. Yeah, I was a fat kid. It was constantly always coming home, crying to my parents of like, I got teased today because of my weight, or, they made a fat joke. So I can recall my dad kind of, I don't want to say he got tired of me, cry. I'd probably say the best thing that my dad did for me at that young of an age was give me a snap book. If you know what snaps are, it's just the ability to crack jokes on other people. And so I think that's kind of where my slick mouth comes. I apologize to anyone who has to have ever endured my slick mouth, but you have to say thanks to my dad for that. So instead of them going on me, I was quick with the words. I know that from that, my self-esteem grew a little. Instead of allowing people to call me names, I kind of took control of who I was.
Personal health issues that she still deals with to this day.
I was diagnosed with a kidney disorder by the name of focal segmental glomerulosclerosis, or FSGS. I really don't know like what kind of caused my doctors to be like, hey, let's check this out. I did have a biopsy first. So 2000 is when I had the biopsy. I remember, I want to say 2001 is when I got the official diagnosis. I think that had to deal with a lot of me being out of school a lot, because I always had to go to the doctor's appointment. I talked a little bit about my weight. I think that also played an issue. I'm not really sure if that caused have a lot of weight when I was younger, right? Because I had to try different medications to make sure things were working in my, my body. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful that almost 20 years later, I have never been on dialysis. I've never had to get my kidney removed.
It was shocking when it first heard of it. Alonzo Mourning had the same disorder, and she reached out to him. Just kept fighting through it, and thank goodness for the doctors. My wife taking her on regular checkups. She's a survivor.
She was on medicine a lot growing up. We had doctor's appointments for her that she had to go to just to make sure her levels and make sure it was being managed. All the way up to she was 18, I believe, before she went to college, kind of. She had to deal with it, the medication and everything. But growing up, I feel like she was, it's hard to say because it's not that we didn't talk about it, but we didn't really talk about it. But I mean, I know it was a sore subject for her. She was an advocate for it. She loved to, she didn't mind telling people that she had it. But I feel like with friends, with others, it's still kind of that thing when you're going through puberty, when you're going through your adolescence years to 18, that you don't know what the situation or you don't know what the expectation for this disorder is. So kind of bearing that weight, I don't know what my life's going to turn out or how my life's going to be. She did well as far as being an advocate, but then on the other side, she had to deal with, making sure that she didn't get made fun of or she wasn't treated differently.
So my teenage years, definitely full of trials and tribulations. Like I said, I constantly got in trouble. Constantly got in trouble with my parents. Either for, again, my mouth, or not necessarily. I ain't gonna lie, my mama was a strict mother. So if you didn't go by her rules, just know there were consequences to not following the rules. But I've always been the outspoken person. I've always, when I didn't agree with something, I wasn't willing to bite my tongue. There was still some self-esteem issues. I would say, again, I was still a big girl, right? But I was heavily active. When I say I was involved in I was in it.
Teenage years were pretty. She was extremely involved in activities, and she was always a good student. The girls were always good students. But she was very involved in school activities like cheerleading, Girl Scouts, I think she even did something in the church choir or something to do with church. So she was just always, my sister always had been involved in a lot of different activities. And no matter what they did, we were always there to support them. Oh, that's right. I remember she did music at one time. So we would go to recitals and things like that. So just always really a very active and involved person.
I was the first to do everything, the first to go to college or go away to college, the first to drive. Like, I was just the first on at least my mom's side. So I just knew that there was a lot of pressure on me, not only to live up to like my parents' expectations, but also the expectations that I had for myself. Like, I didn't want to be just this fat girl who, was just hanging out the wind. So I think that also played a part in my self-esteem, right? Because I maybe thought that people just thought I was just this fat, lazy girl. I think that's why I tried to be so active, especially with cheerleading. Like, that's my first love. There's definitely a lot of uphill battles, but I think that just comes with being a teenager. You're going to get into it with your parents. You're going to have self-esteem issues. I wanted to go to UCF to cheer. I knew by my senior year, like probably March, that I wasn't going to cheer. Unfortunately, earlier on in my career, I had 2 orthoscopic knee surgeries. So I tore my meniscus in both of my knees. And so by then, I knew I was tapped out. Like, I wasn't going to be able to make it on a collegiate team. My knees wasn't going to be able to keep up with the demand that comes with cheer. So besides that, I needed to get away from my mama. I knew it was going to have to take her either a plane or a whole day to get to me. And so I was like, that's it. I'm going there. Going away to college at 17 years old, without my mom, my dad, and my sister, being right there beside me, and having to grow up at 17, right? Like, having to be this adult to have to fend for myself, get food, wash my clothes, cook, and all these things. So I had to grow up.
I met Genee freshman year at the University of Central Florida, the best university in all of the United States. So we were both in the out-of-state student program, and that is how we met. We all stayed on the same floor, and of course, naturally all the Black people gravitated to each other. So it was 5 of us. So we all became friends, and we formed what we now call the Funky Bunch.
She's a part of the Funky Bunch crew. We have spent a lot of time getting to know each other. Genee has always been kind of more laid back of us, always watching and observing, and would just take in a little bit more than some of the others. Vocal, definitely more of a sit back and let me see what's going on kind of person.
Genee was me. I'm not even gonna lie, Genee was me. She was the mean one in the crew, but we all loved her.
Okay, so first impression, freshman year, Genee always had the persona of being like sweet. So I think that's how she always comes off. So I thought that, she was sweet and nice. Even though as a group, I do remember thinking like, dang, they like really mean to each other. Initially, that was my first impression, but Genee was more of coming to defense or more in the middle.
I said this years ago that Genee's one of those people that knows a lot about a lot. I remember asking her on Twitter I would ask her, like, what is this about? What does this mean? And she always knew. She always had her fingers on the pulse of what's going on, not just in like pop world, but in politics and history, informative and knowledgeable about a lot of different things.
So Genee is one of those people where you kind of trace back to the first time you met her, which was at Johnson, Washington. You don't know how they stuck. I can't trace like hey, we met here, we bumped into each other. We're like, hey, do you want to get coffee? Because I like coffee. And we go out and get coffee together, and we get coffee dates and stuff like that. Like, she just became part of the family, man. Genee's just always been there. She's always been cool. I mean, like, once you break her shell, she has a shell. Don't get me wrong at all. Once she accepts you, she has like this internal, like, evaluation process of whether or not you're actually going to be a part of her life. And if you pass those tests, she lets you in, man. And once you're in, like we used to do like potlucks and just chill, like meet up on campus, grab food, see her out. It can't be like, this is where we met and this is where we became friends.
I'm going to tell a story, and you're probably not going to believe me, but it's my story. December 15th, 2009, I was asleep. I had just came home from UCF maybe a couple of days earlier. So I was on winter break back home chilling. It was around 7 a.m. There was a knock on our door. My sister answered it. At the door, there were some people asking for me. And my sister, you know, she's young, so she's like, I don't really know who this is. This is a strange person. Like, let me go get my dad. So she gets my dad, wakes him up. My dad goes to the door. I guess, you know, they show him the warrant that they have for me. So my dad comes to my room and he's like, hey, Genee, there's some people here to talk to you. And I'm like, okay. So the people are like, hey, are you Genee Glasgow? And I'm like, yeah, what's up? We have a warrant out for your arrest. Are you ready to go? Sure. And so it's like, oh, put your hands behind your back. We're arresting you. Put me in handcuffs. Mind you, them things was tight. I walked out the door. I see all these men around my house and like, I'm confused because I'm like, okay, they needed all these people to arrest me. And then at that, they didn't come in your traditional cop cars. Like they were in non-marked cars. They were, I guess, expecting me to run. I don't know what they were expecting. And so I get in the car. And in the car, it's just like, you know, I advise you not to really say anything to me. And I was just like, I mean, okay, but I know I didn't do anything. Apparently, I stabbed a young lady with a screwdriver over a boy. If you know anything about me, I don't fight over men. This is on record. I don't fight over men. I don't know what game somebody's playing me, but I'm gonna just go along with the process because that's all I know. I get to the station. You know, they book me in. So I'm sitting in this type of environment, just like very, like, I can't do this. There's germs here. I have people who are looking at me and trying to talk to me. And I'm just like, please stop. Like, one, I don't know you and I don't belong here. Like, I just kept saying to myself, I don't belong here. I call my mom. I'm like, hey, this is how much, you know, I need for bail. I was like, don't worry about it. We're going to get through this. Yeah, right before I got the orange jumpsuit. And then my name was called. That was probably one of the worst days of life. You know, I've been through some things, but I can truly say that day, I don't wish that on anybody. I don't wish anybody having to go through the lockup process, especially if you've never done anything. My friends would tell you, my family would tell you, I'm gonna be by the book, girl. Like, I might try to push the envelope, but I ain't gonna do anything that's gonna cause me to be in anybody's jail. So when I went through that, I really thought my life was over. There's a lot of things, emotions that were going on in my head at the time. Your girl got off. I had a great lawyer who was able to provide the evidence to the court of like, hey, she wasn't here. She was back in Florida when this incident occurred. So granted, that situation was on my record for a time being. If you look me up now, it's not there. So good luck to all those people who are trying to see if it's still on my record. I got it expunged. Now you know. Your girl was once almost locked up for something that she didn't do. Who knows where my life would be? I want to thank my parents because without them, I would not be sitting right here today. My sister, my friends. Don't ever judge somebody because you don't know their story. That's all I have to say about that.
When it did happen, I just thought my world had crushed and treated my child. So as a parent, I want to go and thrash out at people because why would you say my daughter did something when she didn't do it? But the world is cruel, and she was able to handle it with grace and understanding, and she came out on, and that's what's important.
So yeah, my early 20s was about fostering that independence, becoming who Genee is developing into who she is now, the woman that she is now.
I realized that Genee was not what everyone assumes by seeing her pretty little smile. She has a whole nother side to her. She's a person. That's what I realized. She has flaws. She's amazing. And she's actually not the little, you would assume because she's a baby, she might be a little naive or she might be this, only to find out she knows exactly what she's talking about. Yeah, she's just real, to be honest. Like, you would think that she would sugarcoat things, and she does not. Tells you flat out, and you can respect it, and sometimes you hate it.
I do think, of course, her presence is very strong. She commands attention without having to say anything, being over the top. She is, the type to read the room, see what's going on. She don't miss a beat. A term, it's like real G's move in silence. Like mama is silence, okay? She's making moves. She's applying for PhDs in schools and everything, and you don't know. She just kind of pop up. It's like, okay, by the way, I'll be a doctor in 2 years. Okay, bye.
Your girl has applied to get her PhD 2011. I didn't get any programs, so I had to, do my fallback plan. 2012, I found out that I was accepted to UCF's master's program. I did that for 2 years, so I graduated in 2015. So 2015, I had applied again. 2016, I applied again, did again. 2017, I applied for the upcoming 2018 school year. And so actually that year, your girl was about to give up. Like, I was just over it. Like, I was like, this is the fourth time, right? I'm like, if it's not clearly God, you trying to tell me like, this is not for me. Like, I'm about to throw in the towel, like, and just give it up and then maybe try again in a few years. So my mom was probably the biggest component or the biggest person who was like, don't give up. Like, go ahead, apply again, and we'll see what happens. Let me tell you, sometimes it's that last time that you get your yeses. I got the acceptance letter and your girl cried. Like, cried. Like, I don't know. It's something about my faith that was tested multiple times throughout that process. Despite wanting to give up multiple times, and shout out to God, because without him, your girl would not be in the program that she is in now.
I would say during grad school, Genee was very quiet. She did her work. She did what she needed to do. She got her stuff done. And at the end, she was very independent too. Like, I don't really see her as someone who needed anybody. She was very on her own, very girl bossish.
She doubts herself too much and whether or not she can do it when I know she can. I do know and understand how hard it is to like focus with everything going on and to like really nail it down. But I think part of it is that she doubts herself, doubts her ability to do it. But I know that like she's capable of so much. And because I've seen what she's done and I've seen how like she's put together presentations and papers. And while this is like the biggest project we have to do, I know she's fully capable and is going to rock it.
But I definitely enjoy my profession, and I definitely know that there needs to be more Black therapists. Because like I said, growing up, feelings, what's that? We don't talk about feelings. What you got going on, you need to deal with that and keep it moving. Like, just figure it out. You be all right. As a therapist, I'm able to not only talk to my, clients, but all my clients of all races, especially within the Black community. I love seeing when my friends and family talk about mental health, talk about wellness and their ability to get connected to these resources and seeing them make the changes, receiving therapy. Hopefully one day your girl will be out here, the therapist to a sports organization. So be on the lookout for that. Any professional athlete who's watching this who needs a therapist, that doesn't know me already, holla at your girl. We can make this thing work.
And then professionally, she's grown, of course, too. When we started together, I feel like she has 10 more degrees now, which I know is not the case, but it at least seems like that whenever we catch up, she is working on some sort of new project, or at least school-wise. Right now, in terms of her teaching, that is an area of growth that I might not have guessed for her because of that shyness I talked about. So that just further shows how she stepped out of that shell to be able to not only feel confident in her knowledge, but to share that with other people too.
Recently, I've enjoyed watching Genee blossom in her professional career. She has been on this incredible journey of just learning and getting all the tools and resources she needs to be the best in her career path. And I have enjoyed watching her grow in that area and put herself in positions to speak as an expert and just be comfortable in her knowledge. That has just been truly the joy. I think I've always experienced the personal fun side of Genee, but just watching her thrive professionally has been really, 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 really refreshing to see. I think I've always looked at her as like the baby. So like to see the baby grow up it's just been fun. It's been fun.
I love seeing my friends and my family have success. I love to see the growth that they've been able to make in their lives. So I'm very passionate about my family and friends. If you know me, once you become like a friend to me, you're basically family. I don't necessarily see you as a friend. At the end of the day, you're my family.
Oh, wow. I feel like Genee is literally the textbook, like, ride or die, down for whatever friend. I feel like you first meet her and you get, like, this very soft-spoken, very kind, like, gentle person, and she is. But on the flip side, Genee is down for whatever. Literally call her, Genee, we going on a trip. Okay, I'm gonna be there. I got my bag. Genee, we going to church. Okay, girl, yeah, I'm gonna be there too. Genee, we going out to eat. I got you. So she's literally down for whatever, the most non-judgmental, fun person to be around.
Genee is my best friend in the world. And I say that because she's not a yes woman. She's not gonna just side with me because she's my best friend. She's gonna let me know as it is. If I'm wrong, she's gonna check me. And that's the type of people you need in your life. People that's gonna steer you right when you're wrong, set you on the right path, even though you don't want to hear it.
She's very nonchalant about a lot of situations. Even though she means well, if you don't know her personally, you would think she's very insulting to you. But it comes out of a place of love because she doesn't expect anything but the best. And if you come half-stepping, she really doesn't have time for her day for you.
She is someone that definitely stands by her principles and her morals. She's someone that's very supportive and someone that's very loving. But I would say probably the one thing that to me that would define her the most is that she is very in her morals and within her loyalty. And that's something you don't find with everyone.
But I guess, now that we're older, she gives more mature answers to questions and advice. Oh, this was my favorite. We got to go skydiving for my birthday. She paid for the whole trip, so I guess I'm pretty lucky. And we went to Six Flags in California.
Some of my most favorite ones are eating. we're out and we're trying somewhere new or somewhere different, and she's excited, just eager to try something new, try something different. And she'll be waiting for my critique on it. See if the place is good or not, because according to her, she's like, 10 for 10 on every place that she picks that we go. And it's just awesome.
Probably like one of my favorites has to be going to Europe together. Last year, I remember when I was planning the trip with her, I had a conversation with my mom, and my mom said, the thing about traveling with friends is either you get closer or you destroy your friendship traveling together. And I was like, well, I'm hoping Jen and I get closer. Because it'll be a long dog program if we ruin our friendship at the beginning of the second year. But it was a great trip, and I enjoyed Oktoberfest with her and going to the conference and presenting with her and running all around Vienna and Prague and experiencing that together.
I'll start, of course, with our triathlon because that was just me and Genee. Nobody else, no licenses, no other friends. We were in grad school in 2015. And I remember hitting Genee up in December, and I want to do a triathlon, and I think we should both do it. I want you to do a triathlon with me. Genee, made a face, but she was like, all right, I'm down. And this was a program that we're signed up for that was like a 3-month program to train for a triathlon. Is a 3rd mile swimming, a 12 to 15 mile bike ride, a 5K run, if I remember correctly. I think it was like 3-mile run. So it's a lot. And Genee trained, and even though it was my idea and I liked her, she was like trained, and she trained more consistently than I did. Showed a lot of strength, especially during that swim part. It was scary, and we had to do a practice swim. And I found a place, did all the research where we're going, and then we went out there and I looked at the water and it was dark too. I couldn't see to the other side. I was like, Genee, I don't feel comfortable, I'm not doing it. And Genee went out and she was like, okay, well, I'm gonna do it. She's like, we came all the way out here, I'm gonna do it. So Genee swam from one end to the other end. She swam further than the actual 5K swim distance, and I was so impressed. And I was like, how did you do that? She was like, I was panicked the whole moment, but I knew that I just had to keep going because I was too far in. So I would definitely say triathlon, just because of us having 5 months of training, having to wake up, run blocks around the university, all the things we did to prepare for that.
So my favorite memory with Genee is when I went to visit her in DC, and we rented bikes and we rode around the monument, and we did a little video because that song came out. A movie came out, Compton. And so they had the song, cruising down the street in my 6'4", jocking the haters, song, whatever. So we recorded a little video that was really cute. We almost busted our butts, but Genee really showed me around the city, and we just had an amazing time together.
So hey 30, your girl has made it. What do I hope for 30? I always say this mantra at 11:11. I just want to be happy and be successful. What does that look like? That's me waking up and not necessarily hating my job or my life or the career that I have. That's just me being able to say thank you and be blessed for all that I do have. Your girl is looking forward to 30. I hear it's quite lit, so I'm looking forward to all of my relationships to flourish, whether that's my romantic relationship or my relationships with family and friends. Hopefully your girl will be, starting a family and raising some children out here. Of course, they're gonna be traveling the world. That's what their mama loves to do. Yeah, and who knows where I'll be living, whether it's living in the States or living abroad. At the end of the day, I just want to be happy and successful. That's what I'm looking forward to in this next decade, and that's what I strive for every day.
Getting her doctor, because that's her number one goal. And then getting married, and then having children, and giving me grandkids.
Happy, successful, family and children will come in time. Mostly successful and happy.
Within the next 5 to 10 years, I would love to see Genee start her nonprofit, get married, and have kids. And just continue on working on her personal growth as well.
Random. We've never talked about this. I would love for therapy for Black girls. I would love for Genee to do something like that. Have a podcast where she's kind of just putting out stuff, helping people, using her profession, her intuitiveness, all of that to help people. I can see her doing that. I can see her speaking at conferences. She wants to be a professor, but I can see her in that same breath doing a whole lot. Because again, this is the same person that goes to conferences across the country and overseas and things like that. And now I feel like one day she's gonna be the one not attending to learn, but attending to teach.
Obviously, we want to see her with a PhD, hopefully with whoever she wants to be with.
For me, whether it is 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, hope and also just know that Genee will be successful, happy, extremely blessed.
Being open to sharing herself with, be it one person or others, and I don't mean that just romantically, but in general, be it romance or making new friends or maintaining the friendships that she has. I hope to see her continue to do that. Very cliched, spreading her wings. I've only seen those wings grow.
She just continues to walk in love and light and be the fun, bubbly, sassy firecracker that I know her to be.
Love hard, no matter what you do. So it's love your work, love your relationship, love your family, because you don't know how long you're gonna have. Try to do everything the best way that you can. Remember that no one is perfect. Try not so hard to cast them off right away, because they might not know what they have done unless you told them.
And remain laser focused. Be willing to listen to others, because sometimes people have good advice and can, direct you in the correct way, so that she just remains open and receptive to to direction, to other people providing direction for her.
Your knees are gonna start hurting when you wake up. Well, you already don't have any knees. Your knees are gonna start hurting, but I mean, it's just gonna feel. You're gonna feel a lot wiser. You already been through it, and then little kids are gonna call you old. I mean, my sisters remind me all the time.
My advice for Genee would be to just continue being you. You are enough, and don't let society, the pressure of society that we all sort of sometimes fall a victim to, don't let that pressure you into not achieving what you want versus what you think society wants for you.
Everyone has their own race to run. Just stick the blinders on, and as long as you know that you're doing what you need to do to get to wherever you feel like you need to be, like that's all that matters, man. So if it takes you 6 months, if it takes you 6 years, as long as you're steadily going towards it and putting those goals ahead, like whenever you reach that, it's going to feel so much better than you could even imagine.
No, I can't change the day she was born. That happened, and it happened the way it is. I can't go back. But no, I just love her to death, and love her to life, as they say. So no, we're good. We're good. Real proud of her.
I love her so much. We have had so many times, so many good times, just bad times, 12 plus years. How can you not? I'm grateful to call her a friend. I look forward to being in her wedding. I look forward to her being in my wedding. I look forward to seeing her grow and her children, and her seeing my children and calling them auntie and getting more nieces and nephews, just all of that. All the next chapters, her family is a blessing. I look forward to just seeing where the next 30 years will take her if Jesus does not come back before then. And whatever else has to happen, I'm so glad to be a part of it. Uber grateful for our friendship.
I love you so, so much. Thank you for always being there. Thank you for always supporting me. And whether it's Prague or the moon, if you're there, I want to be there with you. I love you so much. Happy birthday!
The only flaw I see in Genee's armor is that she's a Dallas fan. She needs to change that shit because it's really not going to get her anywhere in life. Positive she is, she's shown that she does have a loser mentality in some things. So I hope that she will mature enough later in life to pick a better football team. But all honestly, I just love her because she's genuine and she's sincere, and she's going to make a mark on this world. I can see it.
Granted, not everybody that I wanted to be involved could be involved in this project, but for those who are involved, I really appreciate you taking the time out to be a part of this project for me. For those who are watching this, I hope you get to learn just who Genee is. There's still some mystery out there, but I hope there's less mystery now that you kind of get the background of who I am. This is my thank you, and I love you all. Peace.